Hey y'all, this is Lauren Akins and welcome back to the Live and Love podcast. This season, I get to sit down with my friends and family and talk about the areas of our lives where we really get to live in love. And we've got some new things too we're going to get to share with y'all, even things that you may not know just because you've read my book, Live and Love.
Man, I've experienced that every episode so far this season, Lauren. Hey friends, I'm Annie Updowns. I'm really excited to be here again with Lauren and with y'all. I love being a part of this new season of this really special show. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that now. And don't forget, there's already 3 episodes available this season and all of season 1. So you got a lot you get to listen to if you are new here. We don't want you to miss a single episode. And if you haven't gotten your copy of Lauren's New York Times bestseller, Live and Love, let's go. Let's go today. Let's get it today. It is such a good read, you guys. You can get it at your favorite local bookstore or anywhere you love to buy books online. And Lauren, I'm really excited about today. Who's joining us for this conversation on how to live in love in friendship?
So today I'm bringing on my very best friend, Lindsey Marlin, to talk about what it means for us to live in love in our friendship. Hey y'all. So before we start today's show, I wanted to talk to you about one of our partners, Cru. I'm sure most of y'all would agree with me when I say this. The Bible has changed our lives, and so much of what living in love looks like for me, and especially my family, is because of what we've learned from the Bible. But imagine for a second that you couldn't get a Bible. You couldn't just buy one at your local bookstore or even afford one. Take it a step further and imagine that you aren't even allowed to have a Bible. I think sometimes it's so easy to forget that there are so many people all over the world who simply can't just get a Bible. And that is why we are so thrilled to partner with Cru. Cru is one of the largest evangelical organizations with over 25,000 missionaries in almost every country. Cru is giving Bibles around the world to people in their own heart language and sharing the hope of Jesus. But here's where they need your help. For only $21 a month, you can provide 3 people with Bibles each and every month. When you sign up to provide 3 Bibles with a monthly gift of $21, as a thank you, Cru will provide meals to 5 hungry families through their humanitarian aid ministry. And you'll receive a copy of my book, Live and Love. Simply text LIVE to 71326 to help today. Imagine just how much this gift could really change someone's life. So text LIVE to 71326, that's LIVE, to 71326 to help now, or you can visit give.cru.org/live.
All right, Lauren, start by telling me, why is Lindsey here? What are we doing?
I'm going to introduce you to my best friend in the entire world. She is literally, other than I feel like my husband and Jesus, I feel like she is the other half of me. Okay, well, my sister and I are pretty close too, but
Yeah.
Lindsey is like the one person that I found in the world that I was not born into a relationship with, other than my husband, who I feel like understands every single part of me. And she's been through basically my whole life with me, all the ups and downs and all the crazy parts. There are very few people who get me like she does, and I think the reverse is true. Not to mention, she's literally like the most witty human being you will ever meet in your entire life. And she's also a little bit of a dork, which really speaks to my dorky heart, which is good.
I think that's what brought us together, really.
How old were y'all?
Probably the best friendship part, where I realized this is a forever kind of thing. Like, we are just really hitting it off, was probably 14, 8th grade.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
8th grade.
At the water fountain.
At the water fountain, for real?
Well, that's what I remember. She's like, I don't remember that, but I remember her with her sweet, precious boy shorts on and her long, lanky legs standing, towering over the water fountain, and all of these little kids who were like a whole head shorter than her. I felt like, I guess you really didn't hit your growth spurt till later, but I always imagined you as this really tall tomboy.
Because I was so gangly.
I know, but you're so cute.
You know, I don't know if Lauren even knows this, but I think the one moment that stands out to me was, I don't know if you remember this, but on my 14th birthday in 8th grade, you brought a balloon to me for school.
At school.
Yeah, and I didn't have many friends at the time. And that meant the world to me. And I remember we have a picture, and I'm about a foot shorter than you in that picture. I was really short. But
I think that picture's in my Bible. Don't you have a Good Pasture soccer
I do.
t-shirt or a
And
jacket
it's
on?
swallowing me whole. Yeah.
Yep. I do.
But that's where it started. I mean, we just kind of hit it off from there. Just perfect situations that we were put in. We were in an 8th grade project together, and that's when we realized, oh gosh, we're funny together. This is good. So
Why is that picture in your Bible?
I mean, truly, she is one of the dearest souls on the planet to me. And so it's like having a picture of somebody in my family. And I mean, I have like some pictures in my Bible that I'll like put as like bookmarks or whatever. Yeah. But I think I have 2 of Lindsey. And I only have like probably 4 pictures in my Bible. So you made up half of them.
I know.
But she is so special to me. Like I can't say it enough. Like words just don't do justice to my heart. But I'm just so excited that you're here.
thank you. I'm so pumped to be here. Yeah.
How nervous are you now that we've started?
I'm not nervous. I figured it would just kind of naturally all come out. Honestly, you know, it just, once we get rolling, I feel like we just go.
Will you tell me a little bit about your life path? Like, we know Lauren's story. We read Live and Love. We've listened to the podcast. But like, how did y'all stay connected? Did y'all go to the same high school and college? And how has all this worked?
We went to a nearby private Christian school down the road, and K through 12. So I knew Lauren from elementary school. We didn't get close until middle school, junior high.
Same grade?
Same grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I graduated with her in Thomas Rhett. We went to college together. We were freshman roommates at Tennessee.
Oh, that's fun.
It was so fun.
Just the 2 of you, or are there more people in there?
Just the 2 of us.
We shared a room. We shared a dorm room.
Yeah.
A little tiny dorm room. But we had like an epic view. And we were on the 11th floor. That move-in day was a lot of fun, going up and down those stairs.
Y'all do stairs?
Well, my dad was determined that we would not wait in line for the elevators. He's like, we can do this. It's healthy. Let's climb the stairs and carry a bed up 11 flights.
Both of our parents wanted to get the heck out of there, you know?
Yeah.
They didn't want to hang out.
It was chaos.
It was crazy. But we did college together. I would say more in college is when we probably went more our own.
Found different friend groups.
Sure, yeah. I was very involved with housing, the athletic department, because that was my major. Lauren was in nursing school and was in a sorority, so we were still consistent with each other, but we weren't roommates for the first time. We didn't see each other every day like we had since junior high. And then we kind of adulted from there and have kept our best friendship and been able to maintain that despite very different lives since then.
Extremely different. And I feel like a lot of people are like, how did that work? Like, y'all were so close. Wasn't that a bad idea, y'all living together? And I was like, no. I feel like it made us even closer living together. But we didn't argue one time. But granted, I don't naturally have the spirit of arguing.
Right.
And you don't either. But I think it worked so well for us. I think both of us are so comfortable in our own skin. And
Always? Was that true in middle school?
No, not for me. Definitely not. Again, that's why
she's grown into that.
I mean, goodness, that's why I've kept this girl around, you know? I mean, she really helped me in middle school become more confident, you know? Like, she was the one person I felt that saw me around that time. And, you know, we've talked about things like that, but I mean, you have been the consistent person since I was that age, and, you know, she always made me feel included and special, and, I mean, that's from her upbringing, and thank goodness for Steve and Lisa for raising such good kids. That's her, you know, choosing the right crowd to be around and always making Jesus first, because she really did. I mean, everyone knew Lauren Gregory as that, and it's how she treated me. So, you know, I'll never forget that. And still to this day, it's such a big part of our lives. That's where it all started.
Lindsey was always cool. She acts like she wasn't cool. I mean, maybe she didn't run around with like the girls who were all the limited 2, you know?
Right.
Because she was like on the Orange Crush softball team and crushing
and also,
life.
It like kind of doesn't matter if she was cool to you. She was cool.
That's what I'm saying. Like, when I saw her, I think I even told you this the other day. I was like, I remember seeing you at the water fountain, and I was like, dang, this girl is so cool. Like, she's not wearing limited 2. She doesn't have on like the cool new shoes. And, you know, her hair is not I don't even remember what was cool then, but you just did your own thing. And to me, that was inspiring because I was like, man, I bet she's like playing football with the guys down the street in her neighborhood, and she's totally riding her dirt bike through the mud. And like, those are things that I love to do. But I definitely tried to look more of like the quote unquote cool part at school just to feel like I fit in. And once I saw her, and to me, what I saw was what I thought was confidence. I was like, I want to be her friend because I want whatever she's got that makes her want to show up and wear whatever she wants to wear and wear her Nike shorts to school and play on the playground with the dudes instead of like doing whatever the girls were doing, because that's what was fun for her. I was like, I want to be around her more because I do have a lot of that spirit, but I just, maybe me and her can hit it off and she can show me her ways. And so I think probably equally we saw things in each other that we wished we had more of.
Yeah.
Or more confidence in that area. And I never realized it until we got older, and she kind of shared that with me. And so the other night I shared that with her. I was like, I thought you were the cool one because you like just did what you wanted to do and didn't care, or it seemed like she didn't care. That kind of started us completing each other.
For sure. We weren't afraid to get like in the mud. You know what I mean? We were involved in sports. I remember you beating all the girls in soccer and races. I was a big tomboy. I still am. I'm not going to lie. And it's in you too, Lauren. But yeah.
Tomboys at heart.
Good times.
How are your lives so different now? You both said, oh, our lives are so different now.
You know, Lauren and Thomas got married pretty young. Then their lives kind of took off as a married couple, going through, you know, TR's changes and then your changes. But I went back to school, went to grad school. I moved down to South Florida and had a job down there after school. So, you know, there was a period of time where me and Lauren really had to be intentional about staying in touch for about 3 years or so.
Yeah.
And this was in the midst of you having kids. I know Ada James, I felt like I missed a lot of her younger years when Willa Gray was adopted. I missed a lot of that.
Also, Ada James is how old now? 4. So you missed a lot of her younger years. I'm like Lindsey.
But she made up for it over quarantine. Lindsey quarantined with us for 40 days. So,
Yeah.
And she was in the room when Lennon was born.
I was. That was so special. I'll never forget that moment. That was awesome.
We're making up for the time when she was in South Florida and I was on the road.
For sure. Yeah. And again, you know, now that I live back in Nashville, like, you know, they're a big priority. And, you know, through the past many years, I've gotten to go on the road with them and stay in touch like that. So very different lives. You know, she's heading on her 4th kid here and, you know, living down the road and single. So I get to jump in their lives and it's completely different from the life I go home to. It's so interesting. People are probably like, how do you guys stay so close with such different, you know, lives and different chapters you're in? But
I will say she has to come more my way these days because I'm so slammed just in motherhood
understandably
and pregnancy. But she's definitely had to make up the difference over the last few years, I would say. And I'm just so appreciative that she cherishes those relationships, like with my family and with me, to come that extra way, because I feel like I don't have the capacity to go many directions these days. And so I hope once my life kind of, you know, I'm tap the brakes on having a million kids for a little bit, and I can kind of go more her way.
That's what she says after everyone.
I was about to say, that's what she said when we were in here last time.
Like, yeah, I'm
not
totally
knowing she was pregnant.
Not having another baby for a while. Just kidding, I'm pregnant. But there's so much adventure that Lindsey has invited me in on. For the most part, I think the only time I've really told you no to an adventure is because of a baby.
Yeah. I know how spread thin she is, and she probably doesn't even know this, but there's been a few times where I'm like, hey, Mo, what's her next fall looking like? You know, and trying to, because we did an awesome out west trip after I graduated grad school, just me and her. It was very impromptu, but for 2 weeks, we
fun.
Took, you know, went up the coast of California and all the way up to Seattle, Vancouver, Canada. And man,
it was the best trip.
That was like our first adult trip.
Thomas Trent was so jealous.
He was.
He was like, can me and you do this again? I was like, maybe. I don't know that it will be the same dynamic, but it kind of just felt like we were reliving I don't know, we were like living together again for 2 weeks, just her and I, and it just felt like we could do anything we wanted. And
we could.
We did it on a budget, but it was the coolest trip. We rented a red convertible something.
Camaro.
I don't even know. I remember calling the guy and I was like, I just need something that the top can come down because we want to like have open air. And we drove up the coast and
I'd never been to California. So that was...
But I had never been to parts that we went to, some of the parts that we went to.
Okay.
In Portland and Seattle. And then we actually, Thomas Rhett was touring then. And we stopped and saw him at the Gorge.
Watershed Music
Yeah,
Festival.
in Washington.
Were you already married?
We were married
3 years.
What year was that?
This was 2015.
She's so
I'm
good
weird with
dates.
it. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
weird
I
with
love it.
She's
That's
so good with
awesome.
Yeah, so we were in our 3rd year of marriage and we got to see him on tour and then we took back off and I think like went to Portland or somewhere. It was so much fun. But like we continued to like try to make time. And actually we were planning on doing some kind of a Europe trip with my cousins and my sister maybe.
This is hopeful, wishful thinking during quarantine.
Yeah.
Right.
But then I also got pregnant. And then Allie Brooke got pregnant. So
It'll happen again, though. It'll
will.
happen soon.
yeah, we're going to do it again because it was so much fun.
Do you get tired having to take more steps towards her?
You know,
You can be honest. Please be honest.
Yeah, because there's a lot of single people that have close married friends that are listening, and they may sometimes feel that or may sometimes not. I'm just curious if...
you know, I think more now than ever, it's been brought to my attention just because now it's not just them married. It's all of my friends. You know, we live in the South. It's just, you get married young. That's just how it is. You know, me living in South Florida and coming here, 2 completely different places, right? I think now more than ever, since it's nearly always me going to other people's lives, it's top of mind. But I think, I mean, goodness, I've been doing it for so long and they are literally family. You know, I adore her siblings, her parents, you know, her husband, her in-laws, her kids, all of the dogs. I love your dogs. It's not ever a problem or issue for me. It comes to mind, but at the same time, like, I understand, you know, this is just a different kind of situation, a different life.
I feel guilty though.
Oh,
I do. Because I feel like I'm the needy friend. It's like, I'm sorry I can't show up all the time for you, but thanks for showing up literally all the time for me. You know, it's just like, I'm definitely in that season where I feel like my friends are having to pour more into me than I'm able to pour back into them.
I think you're probably being a little unfair to yourself in that. Pouring into someone versus who drives to whose house are different things.
But yeah, I was going to say, here's the thing.
I feel that way though. I do feel like my friends pour more into me right now than I'm able to pour.
Okay, well, maybe physically, but at any point in time, if I ever needed a call or text, hey, you might not get the call immediately or can pick up, but you know, if I send you a text that says, Lauren, pick up your phone. Or if I, you know, text Thomas Rhett and say, tell
Where's your
Lauren to
wife?
pick up her phone.
Yes.
She'll be right there. And
Yeah.
so, like you said, it doesn't, physically, it's not as easy, but I know you're always there. So it's all that matters.
That makes me feel a little better.
Yeah, you should.
I still struggle with the guilt though. I mean, we're in a very busy season and I'm exhausted, but I'm so thankful for good friends who let me be exhausted and will show up to my house still, or I can look at them and go, hey, I can't do it tonight. I don't have the capacity. I actually don't think I've ever said that to Lindsey because she's literally only brought life to me.
Yeah.
She only brings life wherever. I mean, and I'm so comfortable around her that if I feel like I can't get off the couch or I'm throwing up and, you know, in the midst of pregnancy funness, I'm good if she sits right next to me and just witnesses all of it.
Yeah.
But I realize that some people, that's not their personality.
I watched you give birth. So yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
I was there.
She's been there, seen that. So
I like that this season we have all the people on who've been in the room during birth.
Oh my.
yeah, I know. But just big birth room, you know? Keep following them in.
Annie, come on to the next story.
Yeah, I'm there. Very interested.
Taking a moment from our conversation to tell you about an exciting new partner of ours, Quip. You hear all the time that the first thing people notice is someone's smile, and having a good oral care routine is super important, especially in the season I'm in right now, being pregnant. Good health starts with good habits, and Quip makes it super easy by delivering all the oral care essentials you need to care for your mouth. The Quip electric toothbrush is loved by over 7 million mouths and has timed sonic vibrations with 30-second pulses to guide a dentist-recommended 2-minute clean, a lightweight and sleek design for adults and kids with no wires or bulky charger to weigh you down, a multi-use travel cover that doubles as a mirror mount for less clutter, and reusable handles in a range of sleek metal hues, including best-selling all black and all pink, as well as bright plastic colors that your kids will enjoy too. On top of your brushing, you can upgrade your Quip with new smart motor to track and improve your brushing with free Quip app and earn amazing rewards like free refills, products, Target gift cards, and more. Beyond the brush, Quip has everything you need to build a complete routine. They have mint or watermelon toothpaste with anti-cavity ingredients for strong, healthy teeth, and refillable sugar-free gum in a one-click dispenser that delivers a long-lasting mint flavor, freshens breath, and can help prevent cavities. In addition to brush heads, Quip also delivers fresh floss, toothpaste, mouthwash, and gum refills every 3 months. Shipping is free, so you can save money and skip the hustle and bustle of in-store shopping. With stylish and affordable electric toothbrushes starting at just $25, you won't be paying through the teeth for better oral health. You can go to quip.com/liveinlove right now and you'll get your first refill free. That's your first refill free at getquip.com/liveinlove. Spelled GETQUIP.com/liveinlove.
Lindsey, did you think Lauren and Thomas Rhett would get married?
When they first started dating for they dated in high school, but for the second time, no. I remember the phone call Lauren gave me. I was heading back to Knoxville. It was for our senior year. I had to go up a little bit earlier because I was a resident assistant in the dorms. And I remember her calling me and said, I think I love him. I have to tell him. I think I love him. And I thought, what? Guys just started dating, again.
Well, I think she probably was like, is this the same Thomas Rhett that we've always known? Are you sure you know what you're talking about? Y'all have never done this before.
Right. As soon as I realized where her heart was and everything, it was just as mutual because we always knew how Thomas Rhett kind of felt. If we really thought about it, Lauren, we should have known.
I probably should have. I'm working on being more aware in my 30s.
You're like 10 years later from when I should have sorted this
Better
out.
late than never.
Right.
Gosh. But I mean, it was as real as could be. As soon as I'll never forget that phone call. But, it happened so quickly and they got married, engaged, married. And oh gosh, it's never had any doubt after that.
Yeah.
Meant to be.
It threw me for a loop. I remember the first time, I think it was the first time all of us hung out. Me and TR and you, and I think Matthew.
Oh,
remember we went
in the middle.
In the middle.
Yes.
There's a spot in Thomas Rhett's neighborhood called the Middle that we used to hang in high school. Yep. And apparently through college as well.
Yes.
Just like a cul-de-sac or like a
it was
park
at
bench,
it was
or
at
what
the
do you
top of
it was almost
the top of the neighborhood, like it was up on a hill.
Just like a bunch of dirt. It's almost like like they were about to start building or something. Just dirt everywhere.
But they never really did. Or maybe they have now. I don't know. You had to take like a truck. You had to have 4-wheel drive to get up the dirt.
Yeah.
And then once you got to the top of the hill, you could see like downtown. And this was in Hendersonville. So it was a little ways away. But it was
see downtown Nashville?
Yeah.
It's very high up.
And I mean,
we were such rebels, man.
Right. Y'all are crazy going that high.
So wild. But yeah, we hung out up there. I don't remember what we were doing that night. Or maybe it was after
we had gone out to eat at Sam's down there. And
I don't know how you remember all this.
Us for
what was the date, Lindsey?
Right?
Oh no, seriously. I do have pictures from the night. But I think after that night, you had said something to me like, okay, I see it now. Like
I had forgotten this night. I'm glad you reminded me.
You were on board after that.
Ever since?
In my life, when my best friend got married, there was a real transition of my role in her life. And it came with some pain for me. And so I'm like, oh, this is who I am now versus who he is to her now, right?
Sure.
A little bit of, and we talked about this with Thomas Rhett's mom too. What was it like when Thomas Rhett became her number one? Right? Like, do you remember feeling anything about that? Or was it just that he was along the ride so long that you didn't feel it?
Funny you ask. Interestingly enough, I didn't go through that with Thomas Rhett. But
I knew we were going to go here.
I mean, and she's, spoken out loud about it, but she had a very serious relationship before Thomas Rhett for 5 years.
Almost 5 years, yeah.
So I think I'd already gone through that in college.
Her and Michael used to butt heads.
It was the jealous game we played, and I'd really gone through that with him. And so I'd kind of gotten past the point of people that were, took the number one spot with Lauren. So when Thomas Rhett came around, it wasn't anything new to me.
Mm-hmm. Was it easier because it was the right guy?
Maybe. This is terrible because I adore Michael now, but maybe I just liked Thomas Rhett a little better at the time,
I think Michael and Lindsey constantly had this like a little bit of competition. Like I remember conversations with both of them where he would be like, seriously? Like you're hanging out with her again? Like you and I haven't gone on a date in a while. Or she'd be like, seriously? You're going out with him again? Like, because I was always like, the more the merrier. And I'm like, let's all three of us hang out. And they're looking at me like, we really, like Lindsey's like, I love you. And I love Michael. I just don't really want to be the third wheel tonight. Or Michael will be like, hey, I love Lindsey, but like, I really don't want to hang out with my girlfriend and her best friend again tonight. And it's funny to talk about now because I know that they're still good friends. And we definitely laugh about it now. And the funny part is like after Thomas Rhett and I got together, there was a period where I was like, Lindsey, you and Michael should totally date.
I was totally going to ask that, but I didn't want to.
and he was interested. Then she was kind of interested. It was a very, very brief, premature, like, yeah, maybe. We laughed about it because I was like, hey, remember when y'all like
Is he married to someone else?
He is now.
Oh, okay, fine.
But
remember, we still all hung around each other as friends. So
he was around a lot still after, the obvious break we needed once we broke up. But once a couple years passed, we were able to be around each other and it was fun. And he's with Danny now and she's incredible. But it was so funny to me because I was like, hey guys, so can we just revisit for a second where y'all like put me in the middle of our relationships and didn't like each other, and now we're like actually having a conversation about y'all potentially dating? They didn't, and there's really no more to the story there. It stopped, but it was a conversation initially, and I was like, hey, I wish we could have all been friends 4 years ago, but I'm being dramatic. They were friends. It was just, the competition of my best friend and my boyfriend.
I think it was a little bit of immaturity involved too. I mean, we were 19, 20 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
And
but I also think it's important for people to hear that that feeling is very normal.
Sure.
That when one of the best friends gets in a serious relationship, it's super normal for the other one to have jealousy. Even though you didn't want to date Lauren,
no, right?
Y'all are best friends, but I think that's really important for people to hear that happens.
Yeah.
I mean, we had just done everything together since.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean I'm the back burner now? What?
Yes.
So,
yeah.
What are you feeling?
Well, that always makes my heart so sad to hear that she felt that way. And obviously me and Michael don't really have these conversations anymore, but I think equally it would have made my heart sad to make him feel like I put him on the back burner at times. But that relationship with Michael was such an important part of my life. And it was such a good part of my life that I don't have any regrets about. But there are parts of me that look back on times with her and go like, should I have let a boy take me from her as much as he did? And granted, in that time, we're in college, and I think, like Lindsey already said, like in the South, I think you just imagine after college, maybe we'll get married. And so we were dating very seriously, kind of pursuing that. So I think that's important to spend time with your boyfriend, obviously. But I definitely think there were moments where I could have been a better friend to her. And I think that's a story that a lot of girls go through when they have a single best friend and then they have this relationship with a boy.
Yes.
And they think, well, she's been my best friend for so long, she'll always be there. I definitely think there is space to have that relationship with a boyfriend, but I think it's so important to not just assume or take advantage of your best friendships and be like, well, this is what I've got going right now, so after these few dates or after whatever we're doing, then you and I can hang out. We were immature, and I do think in college everything is fresh and new and you're learning so much, but there are parts of me that wish I treated our best friendship a little more delicately than I did. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And because of how much fun we had, there are times where I look back and I go, I wonder if we missed out on some stuff because of my dating relationships.
No, I've just never thought this. This is news to me. I don't want you to feel bad.
I know. I just love you so much.
And hey, between
I've loved Michael too. I don't want Michael to listen to this. Not that he's listening to my podcast. Maybe you are. If you are, what's up, Michael?
We'd love to see you in season 3, Michael.
Michael, I won the competition, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it, Lindsey. That's what I was going to get you to speak to, is talk about what time has proven true. I mean, a little bit help her feel better. How have you seen the power of time grow y'all's friendship?
You know, we've gone through a lot of hard stages. You know, me personally moving away and not knowing a soul, and, you know, her going through this new life with TR, and no one really knows how to handle fame when it just all of a sudden comes to them. I don't really know how to. I mean, everything's worked out as it should, and I was never one to tell Lauren she shouldn't be doing something or dating someone specifically. And I always trusted, I knew you were making the right choices. I don't think I ever really did second guess any of your decision making when it came to like your dating life or anything like that. I know we went through a brief period where we were the one fight that we ever got into. Lauren knows Lauren best.
I feel like in Lindsey's true spirit of adventure, she's always like, if my life has kind of taken off, and I feel like both of us learned a lot through me dating Michael. I think you realized it's not worth the battle because you know that I love you so much. No guy was ever going to take the place of our friendship. At least I hope that I proved that through that relationship. But I also learned that because she's so comfortable in her skin and she is such a safe place for me, and I hope that I'm equally that safe place for her, that inviting her into my life wherever I am was always an option. And so as our life has taken off, and you know, we used to travel a lot. I don't travel with him anymore now that I'm about to have 4 kids at home. I've always just kind of invited her in on that adventure, and 9 times out of 10, she's like, yeah, I'll be there. Even though it does feel like she's kind of taking those steps towards us right now, she makes me a priority, and I make her a priority in the way that I make sure she knows she always has a seat or a spot wherever I'm going. I don't have very many of those spots. Despite the amount of good friends I feel like I do have, Lindsey is one that no matter what it is, I will make space for her. And I think just over time we've realized, and especially with our busy lives, that that's something that I'm committed to doing, and she's committing to being a part of our life. And I think over time, you know, through the things where I'm like, should I have been around her more, or should we have really battled, if you even want to call it that, over boyfriends or space or time with each other. I think regardless, at the end of the day, we have learned neither one of us is going anywhere. We're both very important in each other's lives, and we just continue to make the space. So over time, that space has just created more trust, I think, and more grace. Like if I can't make it to something of yours, you're like, hey, I get it. Or if I invite you to do something, you're like, I can't make it work that weekend. I don't feel like we ever have any hard feelings toward each other. Like I think we both kind of speak our piece, and we're like, hey, you know, I'd love to be there. Can't make it happen tonight. And for whatever reason, I think that conversation is so hard with people sometimes. Like they feel so bad to say, I can't do that. I can't put my finger on how we do this so well, but I am so honest with you, and you are so honest with me. And that is very rare, I think, in girlfriend relationships, or maybe just relationships in general. But I always know that where my no lands with her is still a safe place, and she still knows how much I love her. In a perfect world, I would be able to be there, but I can't. But she knows that that's not coming at her personally. Do you feel that way?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Saying no is, we just always know we're going to be there for each other, no matter what happens. I mean, we've gone through too much together at this point. I'm not scared to even make each other a little mad, or sometimes it's like, I might give her that poke that she needs that she may not be getting from someone else. And it's like, she'll be all right. She'll bounce back, but she needs to hear it, you know? And I hope she would do the same thing for me. And she does. And again, like you said, a lot of people don't want to step on friends' toes, afraid of what's going to happen. But with each other, it's like, listen, you're like a sister to me, and you need to hear these things, or we don't tell each other no a lot, though.
No, we don't. But the last poke I can think that you gave me was when I knew I was pregnant with Lennon. Do you remember that poke?
I remember the poke.
In Seattle? Was it Seattle? No.
The good old...
Where were we when we went
good
hiking?
Old Northwestern poke up there in Seattle, yeah.
She told me we were backstage. Or was it Seattle? I think it was.
It was
And I had a Bloody Mary that morning, too.
You did. I had gone... Thomas Rhett had surprised her with the Mother's Day trip and had asked me to come along the trip. Supposed to be a surprise, but he can't keep surprises.
No.
So there we were.
We were backstage. And apparently we'd gone on a hike that morning, all of us.
Did you know
Cameron,
you were
Larry.
pregnant?
No.
Okay.
Lindsey pointed it out to me.
That's the poke. That's the story. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
I don't know how well you remember this. I remember it like clear as day. We were backstage and she goes, Lauren, you are being a royal fill in the blank. And I was like, what? And she was like, you were being so mean. She was like, what? Like, you're being so hateful to Thomas Rhett. And she was like, what's up? Like, just straight up called me out. And I was like, I didn't know what to say at first because it was like, golly, how dare you say that to me? But then I was like, oh my gosh, I have been so hateful these last 2 days. I can't even remember. I think I was throwing a fit because we couldn't hike and go see a movie or something.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like it was so ridiculous? I was really being a diva. And Lindsey was like, it's not a big deal. I mean, we can just go back to the venue and we'll rent a movie on the bus or something. And I was like, but I wanted to see this movie and it's in the theaters. I don't actually remember. But we got back that night and she was like, you need to chill out. She was like, you're being ridiculous and you're being so hateful to Thomas Rhett. He doesn't deserve it. And I remember totally getting my feathers ruffled. And I was like, I can't believe you just said that to me. And then I like replayed the events of the day and I was like, wow, I have been a royal jerk all day long and probably yesterday as well. And then I was like, I don't know why I've been so mean to him. I do love him. I just don't like him at all right now. And then it dawned on me and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant.
Really?
She said it out loud and there was a security guard right outside the venue as she said it out loud, really loud. And she looks over and there's this security guard just hanging out by the room. And I remember saying out loud, well, this man's the first to know that you're pregnant.
Yeah, and as we walked out, I said, I had a drink in my hand. I was drinking something. I had made some kind of cocktail that night and I was drinking it. And I said, and I've got a tequila in my hand or something like that. And I looked over at the security guard and I said, you didn't hear anything. And he was like, yes, ma'am. But Lindsey was like, well, let's hope he keeps his word because this really could be bad. But I took a few pregnancy tests and they were all negative. But I'm convinced that I'm pregnant. But all that to say, I was pregnant. It was with Lennon. It was too early for the test to tell. But my best friend could tell because she was like, you are not being a nice human and you need to hear it. But it was good for me.
I've learned a lot about marriage just being in their lives. You know, it's been, I'm not very patient. And so I've learned a lot just witnessing them do life from each of them. And Thomas Rhett probably doesn't even know, but I mean, he's taught me a lot too. Just witnessing you guys do your thing, you know? And you're probably like, I really wish Lindsey wasn't in the room to see this, you know?
That's good.
But it's really sacred, isn't it? When a married couple lets you come in
Sure.
up close.
And they don't hide anything, you know? They just, really, you guys are good at they're really good at communicating these days.
Hey, we'll get right back to the show, I promise. But first, I wanted to share more about our incredible sponsor of the podcast, Modern Fertility. So, did you know that a simple finger prick can unlock tons of insight into your reproductive health? I'm talking egg count, menopause timing, if your hormone levels indicate conditions like thyroid disorders or PCOS. All the things that are good to know whether or not starting your own family is something you hope for in the future. And what if I told you you could get important fertility insight without going to the doctor or even leaving your home? Modern Fertility makes that possible with easy at-home fertility hormone testing. That's why Modern Fertility was created. It's an easy and affordable way to test your fertility hormones at home with a simple finger prick. Mail it in with a prepaid label and you'll get your personalized results within 10 days. Traditional testing with your doctor can cost over $1,000, but Modern Fertility gets you the same information at $159, a fraction of the price. And just by being a listener of our show, you can get $20 off your test when you go to modernfertility.com/liveandlove. Also, if you have an HSA or FSA, you can put those dollars toward Modern Fertility. You'll get insight into your hormone levels, how many eggs you have, and other important fertility factors. The results go deep into what every hormone means, and you can also talk one-on-one with a fertility nurse to review your results and options for next steps. If you're planning to start a family, or maybe even just one day in the future, clinically sound info about your body can help you make the decision that's right for you. And right now, Modern Fertility is offering our listeners $20 off the test when you go to modernfertility.com/liveandlove. That means your test will only cost $139 instead of the several hundred or even $1,000+ it could cost at a doctor's office. Get $20 off your fertility test when you go to modernfertility.com/liveandlove. That's modernfertility.com/liveandlove.
What do you hope you say about y'all's friendship in 20 years? You're 20 years in. If you were 14, y'all are 18 years in. In another 20 years, what do you hope you say about y'all's friendship?
I hope we are just as honest with each other, good and the bad times. I don't want to look back and think, man, I really wish this period of life I had kind of told her that, this was happening, whether it's, I wish she had been there more for me or, I wish I'd been there more for her. So I hope we're always honest with each other about how we need each other, because that's important, is telling your tribe what you need from them. I think that's things that people don't really, it's all about others. It's never, what do we need from the people that mean the most to us? So I hope that we're always honest in that way, that we're saying yes to all the ventures that we can. Who knows how many more babies we may have at that point in general, but it's just crazy to picture like what your whole family will look like in 20 years, like where I will be in 20 years. It's kind of crazy, but we'll be right there, like your family's my family and vice versa. So,
Lauren, what's it going to take for y'all to have that in 20 years?
Well, I feel like we have such a healthy relationship right now. So I think it's just maintaining what we have and continuing to have the grace, continuing to be honest, and continuing to create that space for each other in whatever circumstances we find ourselves. But yeah, I totally see that. And yes to all the adventures over the next 20 years. I like to think in 20 years, Willa Gray will be graduated from college, probably-ish, if she chooses to go to college, and maybe Ada James. So hopefully by that point, I'll be a little more home free about with the things that I get to do in life.
I mean, y'all may be sitting at weddings by then.
Yeah.
We could be doing mother-daughter trips by then.
Yeah. Oh, you will be doing mother-daughter trips by then, yeah.
Yeah. But I really hope that I'm able to take that spot of where I feel like I'm able to walk more toward you and honor our friendship that way and let you have the crazy life for a little bit. I really want to see that in life, to where I'm able to step in for you like you have for me and love you well through your crazy stages of life. And you know what? It's probably a huge blessing that the Lord hasn't made us both have insane lives at the same time, because I think that would be really hurtful, not intentionally, but I think it would be hurtful to our friendship, because I think it would be very hard for us both to make that time. But hopefully once my chaos slows down, yours will pick up. And that's where I can do for you what you've been doing for me over the last 5-6 years. That's what it feels like.
I think she's crazy. It's physically not equivalent, but in any other way it is.
But I do wonder if in 20 years you will say it was a gift from the Lord that our families, our futures built at different times.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that will feel like what may today feel like a thing that has caused trouble or tension or hard conversations will be the gift you talk about in 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to keep speaking that and believing that over a friendship. That will be so awesome. In 20 years, we'll let you know.
Yeah. We'll be back.
One thing I did kind of want to mention, I know we haven't talked a lot about, is that I've been so intertwined in Lauren's family in general. I mean, her sister is I would consider to be one of my closest friends too. And I also lived with her in college.
Mm-hmm.
And, her family has literally been my second parents. So, and I've always wondered if she would ever get almost not jealous, but upset that I considered her family to be so close to me, outside of just you. I wondered even now, like that we're adults, but like even when we were younger, because we've been doing this since 14, I always wondered if it bothered you that I was close to your parents and your sister now. But it's been such a blessing. I mean, you get Lauren, you get everyone else in the family.
That's true. That is true.
The best.
That's an interesting question. What do you think, Lauren?
No, I mean, here's the thing. I think if you had like ill intentions, or if you were trying to like make me feel left out, that would be a different conversation. But I know your intentions, and if I'm being really honest, I do struggle with FOMO. So like when I've been on the road and like my family's been doing something and Lindsey is literally like my fill-in for the night with my family, I'm like, oh, I wish I was there with y'all. But it was never a feeling of like, I can't believe she's there because I'm not there. It was more like, it made my heart so happy to know that my people who I adore love each other that much, that they're able to have these relationships even if I'm not there. Like that brings so much joy to my heart to like watch the people who care the most about me and I care the most about them love each other so well. But I would be lying if I said there were moments where I was like, God, I cannot believe I am in Little Rock and you are
Shout out to all of our friends in Little Rock. It's in a Little Rock problem.
and y'all are like having a cool party at my parents' house. I don't know. I just made that up, but
we did. You just don't know about that. We did.
But no, it's always made my heart so happy. Not many people get to say that they have that with their family and friends, and I know my family adores you just as much as you do them. So that's been one of the biggest gifts in my life and relationships.
See, and that's a relief for me. So good. We've both made each other feel a little bit better today about that's good.
We needed this. This is good therapy for our friendship as well.
Annie, you free next week?
What does it look like for you? And this can mean with me or with any other friends, but how do you live in love in friendship in life? What does it mean for you to live in love and friendship?
One of the biggest things these days that I have specifically been praying about for myself is that in any and every situation, which I surround myself with a lot of my friends, so with my friends specifically, is to always be the light in the room. Furthering your people. I'm trying to get better at keeping people in my life that are only going to further me. Needless to say, Lauren is, I think of her when I say all these things as well. But if your people aren't furthering you and they're not being the light and they're not making you better, what are you doing? And so I really have been trying to be that light to those in whatever capacity that is. So I've been praying that that's just always finding the good in all things and making sure that when I leave the room, they're like, that was nice. You just always want to be the positive person to the your friends. And I think it's always important to also put yourself in their shoes, even when you are going through, whether it's arguments or just bad times. It's like, well, let me put myself in their shoes. What are they going through? I've had to do that a lot with, Lauren. Then you can better see them in that way.
Yeah.
Making sure you're furthering your friends, being a light to them and being someone that they want to come to. And, then you're loving them well.
That's good.
How do you, Lauren, live and love in friendship?
I feel like I do this a lot, but I totally want to take what you just said. But what came to mind was definitely imagining yourself in their position and your friend's position and what it looks like to love them best, whether it is calling out, what you see in their life that's not fruitful.
It's a good word.
But just loving them well in that, I hope there are more times where I'm able to come more her way and give her grace when she's not able to be available for me. But then also in my position now, like making sure that I'm loving her well and letting her know how much I appreciate the effort that she is putting forth in our friendship, because I feel like I don't have that capacity right now. I mean, for me, so much of what our friendship looks like is a lot of the way that I am in relationship with my family. I think so much of how we operate is the same way that me and my sister operate a lot of the time. And I think that's just a testament to how true and close our friendship is. But when I look at our friendship and my closest friends, it is not that much different from my family. And so I think just honesty and grace and trying to put yourself in their shoes and knowing that whatever they are doing, it's probably like assuming the best of the situation and assuming they're doing it out of love for you. And then if you find out that it's not, and it's a selfish place, or that they're not in a healthy place, having the courage to love them well through that and call them out. But I do think we both do that really well for each other. And I can't wait to see how much better we do over the next 20 years.
I can't wait. We'll crush it. We are crushing it. She's my best friend. I love her to death.
Love you. Hey, don't forget to partner with our friends at Crew. For only $21 a month, you can provide 3 people with Bibles each and every month. When you sign up to provide 3 Bibles with a monthly gift of $21, as a thank you, Crew will provide meals to 5 hungry families through their humanitarian aid ministry, and you'll receive a copy of my book, Live in Love. Simply text LIVE to 71326 to help today. Imagine just how much this gift could really change someone's life. So text LIVE to 71326. That's LIVE to 71326 to help now. Or you can visit give.crew.org/live. Thank y'all so much for listening. I have had so much fun sharing these conversations with y'all.
Oh man, it's been so good. That one today, Lauren, is so special. I do not know that people are talking about friendship that honestly and clearly. So friends, listen and share this show with your people. There are so many of us in friendships that we would love to hear this advice and this wisdom from Lindsey and Lauren. And if you get a chance to rate and review the show, that would mean a lot to us.
I really hope y'all will join us next week for our episode of the Live in Love podcast, where we get to talk about what it means to live in love and loss.